Now, it is my great pleasure to introduce United States Senator Jon Tester. We are honored today by the presence of Senator Tester, who will give opening remarks. Senator Tester, a third-generation farmer from Big Sandy, Montana, and a former teacher, is a senior U.S. Senator from Montana. Following election to the Montana Senate in 1998, Senator Tester rose to Minority Whip and Minority Leader before becoming President of the State Senate in 2005. He was elected to the U.S. Senate in 2006 and again in 2012. Senator Tester is a chairman of the Indian Affairs Committee and also serves on the Veterans Affairs, Homeland Security, Indian Affairs, Banking, and Appropriations Committees. In the U.S. Senate, he is an outspoken voice for rural America and an advocate for small businesses. He's a champion of American Indian nations, pushing for improvements in education, healthcare, and housing, and working to alleviate poverty. Please join me in welcoming the Honorable Jon Tester, United States Senator.
Well, thank you, Tim, for that kind introduction. Thank you for the warm welcome. It is great to be here today to celebrate the opening of the Nations to Nation exhibit. This exhibit is a tangible reminder of the federal government's relationship with the sovereign tribal nations of this country. It's also a reminder of the moral and legal obligations that the United States has to honor and uphold our treaties with Indian country. The United States has 566 recognized tribes as sovereign entities with their own governments and their own laws. Sovereign is a key word. A treaty is formal, written agreements between sovereign states. And the Constitution clearly states the treaty is the supreme law of the land. The documents shown in this exhibit may be on parchment or on hide and displayed behind glass cases, but don't mistake them for relics of the past. These are living, breathing documents that inform our policies to this very day. History shows that the newly formed government of this country learned a lot from its relationship with Indian country. The early leaders of this nation based many of the guiding principles that we cherish today on the enlightened democratic tenets of these tribal governments. One of the very first treaties entered into by the United States government and a tribal nation was the Treaty of Canandaigua. That document is on display here, and I encourage my Senate colleagues, as well as all of you, to take a look. It's an important reminder of the long-lasting bonds and obligations between the United States and Indian country. Let's be clear, there is no time limit to the legitimacy and impact of these documents. They don't have an expiration date, and they do not become less relevant over time. Just as the Constitution and the Bill of Rights, they are living, guiding documents. Many of the treaties signed by the tribes were in exchange for large portions of their lands, often millions of acres. They were negotiated by the tribes in good faith in exchange for the promise of support that would address their citizens' health, education, and welfare. Often these tribes gave up some of their best territories, and in exchange, the federal government made promises through these treaties to provide for and protect the tribes and to work with them to ensure the survival of their culture. The tribes often signed these treaties and made sacrifices as a last option, done with the intent to benefit their people and their descendants. But history shows the relationship between the United States government and Indian country has gone through several cycles, some good, some not so good. Over time, we have seen both constructive and destructive language impact Indian country. Some of the worst came during the tenure of President Andrew Jackson and the Indian Removal Act. That act devastated so many tribes, particularly those driven across this country in what was known as the Trail of Tears. Today, we recognize our commitment and our debt to the tribal nations of this country. The Indian Affairs Committee exists because our government's promise to Indian country. Our mission is to uphold these treaties and ensure tribes not only survive, but thrive. Tribal treaties helped establish the Indian Health Service, the Bureau of Indian Affairs, And my committee, the Indian Affairs Committee, will continue to push for better health care delivery in Indian country, better resource management through the Department of Interior. Our treaty obligations demand nothing less than that. In the Senate, I continue to champion our obligation to the tribes and ensure that their sovereign rights are protected. My committee maintains vigilant oversight over the agencies dedicated to providing services to Indian country. During my tenure as chairman of the Indian Affairs Committee, we've had tough discussions with the Indian Health Service over delivery of health care services to tribes. We are woefully underserving and underfunding our obligations to Indian country. We've also pressed for faster resolution to the Cobell settlement. I believe those final payments are being sent out to tribal members as we speak here today. Moving forward, we will continue to fight for the rights of tribes as we near the end of this session of Congress. We still have a number of big issues on the table, and I'm working with Indian country and my colleagues in the Senate to address them. One of the greatest assets of the Indian Affairs Committee is the bipartisan support for Indian country. My colleagues on the committee are committed to ensuring that we honor our treaties, compacts, and other agreements with the tribes. We're working together to help improve the lives of all Native Americans, and that kind of bipartisanship is rare in today's Congress. I'm honored to be here today to share the opening of this important exhibit, and I hope the people who come see it will leave here with a better understanding of the unique relationship that the United States has with the Indian tribes of this country. I hope they understand that the treaties they see behind this glass remain vital and relevant documents, both for tribal existence today and for the future of Indian country in this great country. Thank you all very, very much.
Thank you, Senator Tester, for your eloquent and honorable remarks.